Hello and thank you for watching my video. This is the final path of Crucible of Eternity, path 3. This actually is the first, well, it's one of the few times I've recorded it. Just to show you, this is my warrior character, who's a Zerka warrior. Proper full-on power, precision, ferocity as much as possible. He's all in ascended armor. He's got an ascended weapon as well that I've transmutated, apart from the back piece, but that was because I managed to get I wanted to go for that back piece. Yeah, so we're all stacked up here. We let the NPC die, and we'll then lure the elementals out to us. As you can tell by the video length, it is a it's sort of a longer video. It's probably the longest dungeon out of the 3 paths that you do, simply because of the amount of bosses that you have to take on and the difficulty. I'd also like to say that this is again a PUG party. We can look at the party here. We have 2 warriors, a ranger, a thief, and an engineer. So not exactly the ideal party. Also, someone in our party, our thief, is doing this for the very first time, and our ranger is, I believe, is pretty inexperienced as well. So you are going to see some mistakes in this. It isn't going to be perfect. I am going to show you as well a lot of the combat log, just because on my warrior I do get pretty substantial damage. It is a DPS heavy build, and this is my backup character, as we see here. We're going to stack for these wolves. This is I had a comment saying that I should run something other than my elementalist, because that's what most of my videos seem to be about. You know, fair comment. I run the elementalist because it is my main. I do find it very handy for most situations. The elementalist Zerka build is also one of the runs that I'm pretty used to, along with the warrior Zerka. I'm not too, sort of comfortable with the guardian Zerka. I prefer to be guardian healer, and the same with the necro. I prefer the necro to be a bit of a condi class rather than a power class. But each to their own. It's the way I see each class. I'm going to do another video in the next few days that's going to show you how each class should be perceived and how each one is supposed to be very, very different. But as you can see here, we're all stacked up again. For those of you that have watched Pass 1 and 2, this is the same positions as we've had before, and this again, it's the majority of the same part. The first half of the dungeon is exactly the same as the other 2 paths. It just differs towards the end. So, again, the fact that it's a bit of a longer dungeon, it does tend to get more. You need to be a bit more experienced at dungeon running. It's not a Citadel of Flame or an Ascalon Catacombs type dungeon, because what you'll notice is that as these dungeons get harder and harder, because they're more higher level ranking, you have to be a higher level to do them. They tend to be that little bit longer. I would say Ascalon Catacombs. You can see here just in the combat log, I took 30,000 damage from 4 hits, plus a couple of K from the bite. As we'll get the NPC, you don't want to really see that. But yeah, God, that champion war, man, he really does hit hard. We're coming up to the alpha. This is where again, I mentioned in a previous video that the subject alpha differs slightly with his attacks on each path. Here you'll notice again, it's slightly different. You get these massive AoE rings that surround each player, and our thief had a tremendous difficulty in actually working this out. It's very simple. You count 2 seconds, 1, 2, dodge, and then that's it. That's all you have to do to avoid the attack. If you're a light armored character, you're very rarely going to get away with this if you do not dodge. As a heavy character, I can get away with it once, maybe twice, if I'm lucky. But yeah, again, we're not having too many difficulties at this part of the dungeon. You can see there, I got hit. If we go back, I don't know if you noticed in the chat log, I'm going to scroll back. This is one of the first indicators what we saw, because you can see in the chat log, I was hit by the teeth of Modromoth. Now this was the very first indicator of the name of the jungle dragon, because you had the teeth of Jormag, that you can see that I got hit there, but the teeth of Modromoth also hit me. So that was how, you know, back at launch, when people were first doing this dungeon, that they knew the name of the dragon was called Modromoth, because obviously you had the teeth of Jormag. Jormag was a dragon. You know, you had Zaitan, and this was the only thing that was mentioned about Modromoth, and so that's what. And obviously, being in the Crucible of Eternity, this was the, you know, they had the 6 zones, which obviously indicates 6 dragons. It was all very well planned out from launch, and obviously the devs have said that they had that planned, you know, with the Sylvari as well from launch. So as you can see here, we've stacked again in this position here. I do apologise. I couldn't really see what I was doing. I didn't see if I was actually hitting any numbers. I was trying to angle my camera and I couldn't really move it well. So then I came out here and was able to swing away. But I'm hoping these videos sort of give you guys that don't run dungeons too well just some idea of the spots in which people stand and where they stack. You know, it basically stacks to get, you know, the extra healing and also to get those extra boons. You can see how much might that we're stacking up. And again, we get the laser field grid. I'm not going to jump through it. I'm a big ass Nord, and there's no way I'll be able to see if I'm jumping correctly. So I've cut it through, so my guys have already jumped through, and we progress up the dungeon. Again, this can take, if you don't have people that jump through the dungeon properly, that aren't very good at jumping, this can be a difficult part of the dungeon. And we come now again to the boss, as I just realised that I hadn't have any consumables on me. We come to the Golem. Again, it's in paths 1 and 2. You must take out some of the turrets, retaliation and protection ideally. This party, we had a couple of guys that really wanted to take them all out. I don't know if it makes too much difference having the regeneration and the one that obviously gives you health. And there's the condition cleansing turret. But I think because we had a engineer who I believe was a bit of a Condi engineer, he really wanted those turrets taken out. You can see here I'm doing pretty substantial damage. Then the retaliation turret comes back, and I do want to take that out because I will lose a lot of damage, a lot of health, sorry, from retaliation. The protection as well, it means that obviously I'm not hitting for as much, that the Golem's getting a bit of an extra defense. And yeah, so you can see here my attacks a little bit less because of he's got that protection up. But now he's gone, I'm really smashing him and, you know, hitting 30k there. Yeah, you can see by the chat log, by the combat log, I'm getting some really good hits down there with my great sword skill 2. Yeah, there's not much else really to say here, apart from the fact obviously this is the final path of the Crucible of Eternity. Slightly different, some of the bosses towards the end, but yeah, it is supposed to be the hardest path. You do not tend to get a lot of people running it, because obviously the length of time, you know, you could do 2 runs on Citadel of Flame and you could probably finish that quicker than you do Crucible of Eternity. And also for you guys that are, you know, unsure about this dungeon, this isn't perfect. This is a group that is it's a PUG group, PUG party. I keep saying it. It's a pickup group. No, it's a PUG party, and you know, ideally, I don't think we should have a ranger, a thief, even an engineer isn't too good in dungeons. Now I've got a terrific Condi engineer that I'm going to try and show some dungeons on, but generally it's DPS. You know, DPS is king in the dungeon scene. There are a couple of dungeons that having Condi heavy build is pretty good. I'm actually doing some Corticus's mana actually on my engineer, which is my grenade and bomb engineer. So as you can see, I salvage, get 3 ectos from that rare, which is pretty handy. I'm doing Corticus's mana. I am going to do other professions. I did 1 Citadel of Flame. For those of you, sorry to interrupt, but for those of you who haven't seen this bit before, if you've not watched the other paths, this is a bit where you just cleave down these bombs before they hit the cannon, and at around 95% we move over to the corner to get ready for when the laser hits. But yeah, as a I did realise after the guy made a comment saying that I do just run Elementalist on all parties, and that's fair. A lot of people don't have Elementalist as their main. But I have run, it was only Citadel of Flame around my Mesmer. I will run, obviously I'm running my Warrior here. I'm going to do my Engineer on, I did a Path 3 today of Corticus' Mana, so I'll be putting that video up in the next few days. I'm going to try and run a Guardian on a Necromancer as well. I think the Thief, we'll see. I find the Thief very tricky to run dungeons with. There will be probably Corticus' Mana Path 1, because the Thief is very, very good at Path 1 for Corticus' Mana. But then we've got some Honor of the Wave stuff as well that we'll have to finish up at. But I'll try and put in some other professions. Obviously, I'll try and do some with the Ranger. I've got some decent Ranger builds for PvE. So the Ranger, Necromancer, the Guardian, you will see all of them. As you can see here, the lasers fire at the wall. You must run through and get to the left-hand side, otherwise you will suffer. There's that champion abomination. Anyone who's done events in Ore, particularly sort of some of the events in Cursed Jewel, will recognise the Risen Abominations, and they are a pain in the arse. They'll get the rampage up, particularly the Plinks sort of event chain. At the end of the Plinks event chain, you do get a Risen Abomination. Next bit I love. This is just a loot fest here. With my massive greatsword swinging away. Just make sure you avoid the abomination, the exploding suicide bombers, and you can sort of cleave away. There's no real issue here. Plenty of loot, as you'll see to the right hand side when I finally press F. Get some heavy multi bags. Yeah, some good stuff there. This next bit, a little bit trickier. You've got some elites, particularly the Risen Wraith is a bit tricky. And here we go. So we pop that banner down, and we're really powering away. Again, for me with the precision, being a Zerka warrior, having that banner as well, of the two banners, just really increases, sort of the damage I'm doing. The build I've got, obviously, you can see skill 7 is, to give me might. Skill 8 gives that extra flat damage. And I didn't show you my traits, but the reason I don't use the F1 skill is I do actually do more damage when I have full adrenaline. So that's why I don't pop that as much. And you can see here, finally, for the first time in 3 videos, we've got people stacking where they should do. I did, oddly enough, was doing this with another group before, another PUG Party. And they were stacking where Alpha is. And there was 2 of us that were stacking here, and the other 3 decided to kick us for not standing on Alpha. You do get it up there. It is a bit of a joke, really. This is the safest spot to just kill Alpha. I found it. We killed him a lot easier and quicker. But hey, everyone's different. It's just a bit of communication. I said in chat to stack there, and everyone comes in and stacks there. If everyone's agrees to stay in the same place. Communication is very important. As you can see here, a couple of party members are struggling with the dodging, and this guy, Subject Alpha, on Path 3, does this with this AoE attack, is significantly harder than he is in the other 2 paths. So just be wary of that when you're doing P3. P1 and 2 are a lot easier than P3. And that is why P3 takes a little bit longer. I think probably it wouldn't. I think we could have shaved off probably around 7 or 8 minutes of this if we actually were full Zerkers going out in here. But yeah, we're going to cleave Subject Alpha down. Again, the Thief is really struggling to dodge. He had no idea of when to dodge. To be fair, neither did I when I first started. Alright, I didn't realise that this was his first time through. If he'd said that, I would have been been able to explain again a lot. Say, look, just wait 2 seconds and then dodge. And after I explained him, even up to the final boss, he wasn't realising it. But, I mean, if you are new to a dungeon, just say you are new. It's not a big deal. As long as I know, I will go around and explain things to you so that you know. That's the only way that people learn, not just by sort of being quiet. Don't be afraid to ask. Again, we get another loot area here. You just stack up and you can really, 1 or 2 shots with these little crab guys. It's a nice bit of way to get some claws. You'll see all the loot in the right hand side. It's pretty cool. You know, that was part of me. That would sort of get me towards another great sword, rare great sword that I can sell on the trading post. And then we have a slightly harder bit. Then this can catch a few people out. What the idea is, we burst through the wall. The destroyers burst through, and we run. So we stack here because that door is going to burst open, and these destroyers do some heavy damage to you. So you run past them. There is a couple of destroyer crabs that you'll encounter. So I've run past them. Here they come. So you've got an elite there. Just make sure you run past. I'm using the skill 3 to dodge. The thief unfortunately wasn't able to dodge because the amount of, I mean, you can see there the champion destroyer, so it was a champion, did 12,000 damage using that fire pit in quick succession. So just be wary of that. You know, the thief could have stealthed us and gone through, but he is a bit of a newbie thief. Fair enough. And the guy's going to go back and resurrect him, so I'll probably just cut it there when he's back. Okay, so he's back being rezzed up. In this situation here, we have a destroyer at the heart of the sort of inquest lab. We have these panels that go on and off. We have 3 cryo lasers, and we use the 3 lasers in synchronization to disable that shield. Once that shield's disabled, you must then run down, and that's your chance to attack. The shield will only be down for a few seconds, so the idea is that you then really have to go for it. Not only that, you then have these sort of fire missiles dropping everywhere, so you can that are causing you damage. So you can see me. We've activated the laser. We're running down, missing those fire sort of drops, the fire stones, and the shield's down. We're attacking the destroyer, trying to do as much damage as possible. Ideally, you're able to get less than 50%, so it would only take 2 times. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have a perfect team. I have edited it a little bit because we did have some casualties after the second try, but you can see there, it's just up to 50%. You want to make sure you get back away, because when the shield will knock you back and into the lava, as it's happened to one of my party members. Actually, it's happened to 2 party members. What happens, you don't stay dead on the lava, you actually get waypointed back. Or not waypoint, but you get beamed back. You can see on my mini-map, everyone's congregated at the top because they're resurrecting them. I've gone back to the laser position at the bottom. And you can see them as they're going to resurrect our allies. But you can also see here, I'm just waiting around and I get targeted by these sort of the fire drops. Sort of I don't know what skill you call it, but it's like the elementalist sort of dagger sort of scepter skill. You can see there, and they do cause a bit of damage. But you can see if you watch those panels as well, when they they flash as they're about to get hit, so that's a bit of a warning. So as we all ready back up, I should have really edited this back up, but yeah. So normally a more experienced group would have already had the destroyer down less than 50% and should pretty much be able to finish him off on the second attempt. But I'm gonna edit it in because we didn't actually do it on the second attempt. A few of us died, and I'll just edit it back in to show the final time that we actually killed the boss. I mean, it's not too challenging, this really, as long as you've got some coordination, as we are here now, and you've got party members that know how this mechanic works. So you can see it's on the second panel, and I jumped through. I would have waited if it had been flashing a little bit longer. So I popped the banner and really going to town on him. You can see again, we're getting targeted by these stones. It hit my colleague here, Hanino. He got killed, and we didn't manage to finish it off. But as we come back for our third attempt, we're able to kill it a lot more easier. You want to go across the lava to get back up these stairs here. You can see where the chest is, sort of just above us. And then we're on to Subject Alpha for the final bit. I will point out that again we struggled at this point because a couple of the guys were unfamiliar with this boss. Although it's a lovely, well-designed room. This, I really do like the aesthetics in here. The sort of the glow of this, the inquest lab. Yeah, you can resurrect yourself off the tendrils when they spawn. Although again, my party were unsure of that. and you have to use this 2-second dodge. So when you see an AoE, you dodge the effect. You know, you wait 2 seconds, then you dodge. That's pretty much, you know, all there is to know about this boss. He does do a little bit of other damage, which is fair enough, but we struggled a little bit on this boss. We got a bit lucky in the fact when we actually died, we waypointed back, and I don't know why that the boss was still attacking. I think it must have had an ad that spawned because he was still like in combat. So even though we respawned, he was still at like 10% health. So we got a bit lucky here, and so you can see a few of us are dying. But have you noticed where we've stacked up? We're all stacked up here because it's the best place. Because you pull him down away from the tendrils that spawn at the top, and you get him in that corner. You can also dodge a little bit easier because you just dodge into the wall and then you can carry on hitting him. So this is a very good spot. It's the majority of people stand in this spot. You can see again the AoE effect as we're dodging away, and we should be able to get him down. I pretty much sort of you know, I think I'm going to get downed here, but yeah, we're really trying hard, and I think you'll see I get downed, and we managed to get a few guys back up. I get downed, and instead I almost get raised, but I decide to take one for the team and sort of go, you know, you go YOLO. You know, you only live once, so let's get, you know, vengeance, and end up killing Alpha. So I'm dead, and then we killed that subject Alpha. So that's path 3. Wasn't a perfect run by all means. I'm hoping that all our stacking positions have helped you guys what we're watching see our progress. I'm sure you probably can do it a lot better than we could, but I'm hoping this is a good guide for you. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been useful, and I'll catch you on the next video.